This is Gang Green Blitz with your host, Joe Mauceri.
You know, I wish my boss would give me a hug every day and tell me that he believes in me. Hey, Woody Johnson might not be such a bad owner after all. We're going to hear a lot from the owner of the Jets today. Thanks, in large part, to our guest each and every week, NFL reporter for the New York Post, Ryan Dunleavy. Ryan, you got to speak to the owner of the. I love it. I appreciate it. That didn't work well on camera. That looked very interesting on camera there. I appreciate that, man. We got to have you in studio more. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
So you're fresh from the owners meeting today.
I am. 10-block walk.
And you know what? The shine has gone down. So you're cooling off. I appreciate that. You know what? I was going to ask you about your conversation with Jets owner Woody Johnson, but why don't we just listen to your conversation with Jets owner Woody Johnson today at the meetings?
What's your confidence level in Aaron to turn it around?
Well, it looks like he's turning around parts of it. You know, it's hard when you have a quarterback with, with a rating that we got. You know, he has the ability, but something just is not jiving.
So what gives you hope then?
I just think defense, special teams are doing better. Defense is pretty good, and if we can just complete a pass, it would look good. You know, we got to complete some passes. You got to convince them that you can do something. Otherwise, it's hard to have a game that you could win.
So much to break down from that
He's
one
not
comment
wrong.
there. No, he's not at all. First of all, thank you to Tom Rock of Newsday for capturing not just Woody Johnson, but your question over there, which got the party started there. So I'm going to ask you your takeaways from Woody's response to your question.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I love that he said the truth. My job is to get people to say the truth. Woody Johnson said the truth. Was it, something the fans want? Was it something the fans think an owner should say? Probably not. But the Jets are leaning towards starting Tyrod Taylor. The cat's out of the bag on Aaron Glenn's quarterback decision. It'd be hard after those comments to go back to Justin Fields, though they still may need him at some point if Tyrod Taylor gets injured, as he tends to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be happy if I was Justin Fields hearing that, though I'm going to walk away with $30 million of Woody Johnson's money. So, no, I mean, I was shocked because I didn't ask about Justin Fields. No one asked about Justin Fields. It was, the obligatory vote of confidence. Do you have one for Aaron Glenn? Woody actually started out by saying, we said, do you have a minute? He said, there's not much
He
to
wasn't
say.
supposed to talk today, right?
I mean, it's really up to every owner.
Okay.
Some owners stop, some don't. Year to year, but it was a layup for him to stop because he is the first-year coach. All he's got to do is say, it's early. We have our first. I have full support in Aaron Glenn. Headline: Woody Johnson vote of confidence for. It's like it's factory. It's like making pizza. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like
Mad Lib. It's Mad Lib.
I have
That's
a
what
vote
it
of
is.
confidence for Aaron Glenn. It's early. Can't disappointed 0-7 record. Can't put the cart before the horse. But like. It's clear that he does have confidence in Aaron Glenn.
Absolutely. And
it's clear where he thinks the blame belongs for 0-7. Again, I don't think that's wrong, but I don't think that was productive for the franchise either.
He tried to throw that line in there. He realized what he said, and I think he tried to walk it back a little bit where he said, he has the ability, just something's not jiving right now.
Sure, but then a couple minutes later, he said you can't complete a pass, and then later on he said you can't run the ball. If you can't pass the ball, that's football 101. So I don't think he was trying to walk it back. I think he doubled and tripled down later on the quarterback being the problem. So
is the answer then Tyrod Taylor in his eyes, and then does he basically just force the coach's hand at this point with these comments?
Well, I think I'm going to give him some credit here.
Okay.
I think he probably knew what the decision was. I don't believe that Aaron Glenn didn't know what the decision was yesterday.
Okay.
So I think he probably knew what the decision was and just let the cat out of the bag. If he didn't, then he certainly forced Aaron Glenn's hand because it would be very hard now for Aaron Glenn to come in tomorrow and say, we're going with Justin Fields, and everybody say, well, your owner just told us he stinks. So
yeah, that does leave for some tough questioning.
Yeah, and forget us, what the locker room would think. So a house divided, basically. So yeah, probably I would think they go with Tyrod Taylor, and probably for the rest of the season, as long as Tyrod Taylor's healthy, which he tends not to be. He runs around, plays a chaotic style. He's had like 4 or 5 concussions, so you'll probably need Fields at some point. Is he the answer? No, he's not the answer. The answer is next year's first-round pick.
All right, we'll get into that in a minute, but let's listen to Aaron Glenn on Monday about the quarterback situation and how he handled it.
There's a lot of thought that goes into that. For me personally, and then being able to get with the staff, and then just being able to ask other coaches that have been in the situation about how would they handle that. So I'm not running away from the question at all, Rich. The thing is, I want to make sure that I make the right decision, and I don't want to make rash decisions either. So I just want to make sure when the decision is made, it'll be the right one, and you guys know that real soon.
All right, so I appreciate the fact he doesn't want to make any rash decisions.
I actually think that's one of the best things about him is how he uses his resources, like that he really thinks through his decisions and he has a network of people he trusts. I've never really heard anybody say they're going to ask other coaches who they should play at quarterback.
All right, so obviously, I mean, he's probably he's not talking about active coaches. He's talking about probably Parcells, right?
Maybe Peyton.
Okay,
Sean Payton's a mentor of his. So
you think in season he's asking another active NFL coach?
I think it's possible. I don't know, but I think it's possible. Like they have a good relationship. I'm trying to think. Sean's been in this situation after Breeze retired. He had to bench Russell Wilson. I think it's possible. They've already played, so that it's not that they're not playing again. So it's possible.
All right.
But yes, probably Parcells and anybody else. He's he's mentioned Tony Dungy and Jimmy Johnson this year, so maybe them.
So that's interesting to me though. But I was very curious when he said that I'm going to ask other coaches and see how they've dealt with it. When you hear that, right? Obviously, you liked it. I'm thinking about in the locker room. Like, this guy's coaching my team, right? I trust him.
Yeah.
If he's got to go to everybody to get his decision verified, does that put any question about the decisions he's making in your mind? Because that was what I took away from it. I was like, I'm glad you do it. I don't know if I would have said I do it to everybody on the podium there.
0-7 puts, if I'm in the locker room, I'm 0-7. That has me questioning Aaron Glenn's process. Maybe it's the type of person I am, but no, to me, I would say no. At least the guy's doing his homework. I don't want off-the-cuff emotional decisions. Like, I want a guy who, like, researches and is taking people's people's opinions into his mind. Like, no, I feel like he's doing all the research possible before he makes the decision. That gives me more confidence in
Okay. The fact that he handled the situation coming off the Denver game, said it wasn't the time to go and bench Fields, then gives him a half and decides, okay, now's the time for him to go and bench Fields. What did you think about the way he handled that in the moment?
I didn't mind the way he handled the quarterback. I didn't love the way he handled it publicly, that he, like,
dismissed the question.
Dismissed. Dismissed is the word. He laughed at the idea that it would even be an issue.
Yeah.
And then like a half later, he pulled him. Well, this is why we're asking. We tend to be a half ahead of you. Like, that's what the media does. So,
and if you're a half, then other coaches might be a full game.
Yeah, so exactly. So I didn't love the way he handled that. I don't mind that he gave him the extra half or what. I mean, they did make a big investment in this guy.
Oh yeah,
so,
100%.
I don't mind giving him as much rope as you possibly can, but at this point, it's over. So the scary part is, like, and I think Glenn acknowledged this, is like, once you bench him, you can't really go. You're not going to play the seesaw game and like, oh, it's Tyrod for 2 weeks. Now you're on 2. Now, let's go back to him. Like, your next option is Brady Cook. So, like, I like that you stuck with him as long as you possibly can.
You don't think they'll do some wildcat formations or have him in a certain package for him like they did with Jackson Dart or even with Fields last year when he was in Pittsburgh after Russell Wilson came in and
Here's
took the
what
job
I would
from
say
him.
to that. Like, the package should have already been used.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have some, like, Justin Fields running package, like, why didn't we see that in the first half of the first 7 games if that's a package?
I can't tell you how highly this makes me think of Mike Tomlin. And I've always thought highly of Mike Tomlin.
I agree.
Like, the fact that people are kind of have fatigue that he doesn't win in the playoffs. The guy does not have a losing season on his resume. Like, and last year he did it with the quarterbacks Justin Fields and Russell Wilson.
This is the best line I heard at the owners' meetings today, and it's like 40 reporters standing around talking to each other. The best line I heard was when Woody said any coach would have a losing record, or any coach would find it hard to win with the quarterback play we're getting. And somebody was like, Mike Tomlin didn't.
It's amazing. It is amazing. All right, so we're going to talk about what the impending quarterback change, because obviously nothing official yet, could mean for the Jets moving forward. We're going to look back at their loss to Carolina, but we do have to take a quick break. That's going to be on the other side when the Gang Green Blitz returns. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Gang Green Blitz.
Well, we haven't even talked about the actual game. I think that's probably better off for most Jets fans, but we're going to do it anyway. Ryan Dunleavy, NFL reporter for the New York Post, joining us in studio for this edition of the Gang Green Blitz. So, Ryan, I know we'd probably like to forget this football game. It looked like football, similar, I guess. But another loss for the Jets. The offense, abysmal. Let's take a look at after Tyrod Taylor came in the game. What did you notice, if anything, about the difference in the offense with Tyrod versus Justin Fields? Because I saw a tweet from you that stuck out to me.
What was the tweet?
I believe it was Tyrod Taylor in, Jets offense still bad. Or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, the results weren't any different. It felt like Tyrod forced things a little bit, which he can do. Obviously, he doesn't know if he was going to be the starter. He's trying to win the job in that moment. Tyrod plays the term when he was on the Giants, we used to call him an agent of chaos.
Okay.
Like, he makes crazy things happen. He crazy good things, crazy bad things. He throws the ball downfield. He got picked off twice. And like Justin Fields, for all his bad, is not a high interception.
Well, you can't be if you don't throw the ball.
Correct. So, but there are coaches, especially defensive-minded coaches, that look at an interception as like the worst possible thing. They'd rather Charlie check down, not throw interception. So like there's probably a point of Aaron Glenn who's like, this is why we don't play this guy. Like, this is why we play Justin Fields, because I'll win the game with my defense. And
and the defense has been playing well.
The last two games, the defense. You give up 13 to the Broncos, you should win. You give up 13 to the Panthers, you should win. So there's probably a part of him that thinks these interceptions are going to kill us in games where we have a chance to win.
Yeah.
But you got to live with that and hope Tyrod goes back to some of the playmaking that we saw in the second half of the Tampa game.
So when you look at this, right, this offense in week 1 against the Steelers with Justin Fields looked like they had something.
Yeah.
They had rhythm. They had creativity. And since then, it feels like they've forgotten.
They have one touchdown in the first 3 quarters of their last 6 games combined. So all their offense is in the fourth quarter when they're down, 10,
Garbage
14
time.
points. 1 touchdown, none in the first half, and 1 in the third quarter in 6 games.
That's terrible.
I mean, it's unthinkable.
So when you think about this, though, and the start that Tanner Engstrand got off to here, are you surprised at just like what we saw in game 1 and then just how bad it's looked since then?
Let me call myself out. This is for freezing cold takes somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere in one of my 5 million stories I write every week, I said I did a fact or fiction for the Post after week 1.
Yep.
And I called it a fact that the Lions would regret letting Tanner Engstrand walk out the door. It was fiction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, they looked great week 1. What do you attribute that to? Well, we all know the old saying is week 1 is wacky, crazy things happen. Maybe Tanner Engstrand's great with a lot of preparation. Maybe the Steelers' defense wasn't ready for the season. Maybe a million different things. Maybe it was Fields with the adrenaline rush of playing against the team that let him walk out the door, like a million different. Maybe it was just not knowing the Steelers what a Tanner Engstrand offense looked like, and then there's film out on him,
Yeah, but come on, that much after 1 game. That's impressive.
I would say I don't know what it is. I just know that early in the season, somebody said to me, like, I was like, what do you expect make of Tanner Engstrand? I'm like, he hasn't caught a play in like 8 years. And somebody said to me, and look, I'd like to see Tanner Engstrand call plays with Tyrod Taylor or with somebody else before I blame him and not Justin Fields, because Justin Fields has never been a very good quarterback in this league. So I'm going to give Engstrand more benefit of the doubt than Fields, because I've seen Fields on 3 teams with 5 coaches or whatever. But somebody said to me about Engstrand, the Lions didn't keep him when Ben Johnson left, and Ben Johnson didn't bring him to Chicago. So sure, Aaron Glenn wanted him, but like either of those 2 jobs is a better job than the Jets.
Did you know about the whole? Did you know about the whole roommate connection with Muji?
I mean, I know not at the time.
Right. When did you find out about
after
that?
he was hired?
Okay.
Yeah, after he was hired.
So did that send up red flags for you? Because I mean, we know that
that's what the NFL is.
It's such an incestuous business.
That's why we have the Rooney Rule. That's why we have all these things, because the NFL, and not just the NFL, that's not fair. All sports are like that. Yeah. Really, a lot of life is like that.
Pretty much.
It's all who you know. And
nepotism and cronyism are real things.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, because like that's why is Brian Daboll the Giants head coach? Because him and Joe Shane worked together in Buffalo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Why is Aaron Glenn the Jets head coach? Because he played here 20 years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, look at the previous administration with Robert Saleh, right? And LaFleur.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's throughout the business. All right. So all of this losing seems to be weighing on the players. Yes. And we've heard a lot from many players post-game in the Jets locker room. But Breece Hall seems to be one guy who's feeling it every week. And here's what he had to say after the latest loss to the Panthers.
It's hard. We've been in this for going in 4 years now, being in this organization, and you feel it from the fans, you feel it around the building, you feel it everywhere, you feel it as soon as you leave the locker room. But at the end of the day, we all have something to play for, whether it's family, whether it's a self-motivated thing. I feel like if you're not motivated to come to work every day and get better and play for your teammates, your coaches, play for your family, or even other reasons other than that, then you shouldn't be in this league.
So I feel like every time I hear Breece Hall speak now, like I feel sad. Like a little piece of me dies along with him in there. Because Breece around the Jets locker room, smiling, his teammates would be getting interviewed, and he's the guy who comes over and interjects, gives Sauce Gardner a hard time about how much he spent on his teeth. And this to me is just so deflating. And when you look at the way certain running backs are still used around this league, when you think about the potential that we saw from Breece Hall when he first got here with the Jets, it just feels like he's become completely lost. And this was a Jets team that was supposed to be ground and pound, right? We said that was going to be their identity. Where did they go wrong in losing their running backs this season?
Well, so where they go wrong is they're behind in every game, and it's hard.
But this was a 13-3 game this week. They gave up 13 points last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, right? The defense did not play well early to start the season. The last 2 games, they've played very well.
When I think of Breece, when I see that clip from Breece, or when I'm around Breece, it reminds me so much of being around Saquon Barkley, who I spent so much of my career around. And anybody who saw the documentary that came out in the last 2 weeks, Saquon tells you he lost his love for football because of the business side of it. And I think there's 3 things weighing on Breece, just besides the losing. Yeah. One is he's a guy who's very active on social media. Right. So Jets fans come at him, or NFL fans come at him on Twitter. He sees it. He's not one of those guys who doesn't check his rate. He's on it.
Yeah, so and fantasy owners are around the world are
exactly, not just Jets fans. Yeah. So he's on it. So there's a human element to he's seeing himself get beat up by people. 2, the Jets paid Garrett Wilson. They paid Sauce Gardner, his buddies. Jermaine Johnson has a contract for next year. So Breece's future is very much up in the air. So,
but do you think he had the free 20 tweet or post as well? Finish what you're saying. Sorry.
My point is eating eats up Garrett Wilson as much as anybody I've ever been around, but he can go put his head on $30 million at the end of the night.
Losing. Yeah.
So Breece Hall can't. He hasn't been paid, and he doesn't know where he's going to be in 2 weeks. So there's a human element to that. And then 3, the short shelf life. Garrett Wilson can win at 30. whether
Yeah.
it's here or somewhere else. Brees Hall is going to be doing our jobs, media at 30.
Yeah.
So like the short shelf life of a running back, he is feeling that. He
And a
knows he's
devalued
on a
position.
Yes, he knows he's on a time clock to win.
Do you think the fact that the Jets had Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, and everybody was talking about them last training camp going into last year, or was it 2 years ago now?
No, this is only Allen's second year.
So
Yeah.
last year. Like, do you think that impacted Brees? Because, I mean, we always see the position groups is always like, hey, no, we're the tightest tight end room in the league. This wide receiver core is a great group of quarterbacks room. I can learn from these veterans or these rookies. Give me whatever. There was a lot of hype around Braylon Allen when he came in, and like you look at the guy, and he's the off the bus guy, right? Along there with Michael Clemens. Those don't always work out on the field, but do you think that impacted him in any way because like running backs by committee and the way that position has changed?
I guess it's possible. I don't know Brees well enough to know that for sure, but. I guess that's I guess that's possible. I mean, there was even more hype around Braylon Allen this year before he got the knee injury. So,
but the whole Jets running attack, there was some hype around. I
definitely think that's possible. I hadn't thought about it. I can't rule it out.
Do you think in any scenario Brees Hall is here next year?
Next year, zero scenario.
Zero. Do
Do
you think he's gone?
I guess
do you think he's gone before the 10%? Do you think he's gone before the year's over?
He should be. I mean, they should learn from the Giants' mistake and get something for Brees Hall before he's gone. I mean, they have the franchise tag available. They don't need it for anybody else. So they could franchise tag him. I think it's like $14 million. That's a lot for this regime, I would think, to spend on a running back. I don't think, whether you look at Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, not a place that spends on a lot on a running back. Mushi, the Broncos didn't spend a lot on a running back. They've always had just like, insert running back behind. They started it basically with Mike Shanahan. So I would say probably not. So I'll say 10% he's here next year and 10% he's here in 2 weeks. Let's say 25% in 2 weeks, but they should trade him. It's the best situation for everybody. Get a fourth round or a third round pick or whatever.
All right. Next up, the Jets have to take on former Jet great Joe Flacco with his new team in Cincinnati. They're coming off a win over the other former Jet great, Aaron Rodgers, on Thursday Night Football. The Jets going to have a win before Brees Hall's traded if he's traded?
Who do they play after the Bengals?
I think they got the Browns in there, and then they got the Dolphins coming up. I don't know.
I mean, they have a schedule. They're not going to win no games.
Yeah.
Like the talk that they're going to go winless or whatever. They play the Saints. They play the Dolphins. They play the Browns.
We
the
got
Bengals.
here we go. We got Cincinnati, Cleveland, New England, Baltimore, Atlanta.
Okay. So I'll say yes. I'll say they win one of the next two, the Bengals or the Browns. I don't know if it's this one. I looked up Flacco the other day. I think he was like 1-8 as the Jets starter.
And that one was a ridiculous comeback against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. So I think I don't want to get that stat wrong, but I think it was like 1-8. He didn't exactly fill up the Jets fans' memories, but he was around a long time. He's a really good guy. He played really well for the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals needed a move. They went out, they got him, and he out-dueled Aaron Rodgers. So, no, I don't think they win this game, but I do think they probably beat the Browns at home in 2 weeks if Tyrod Taylor is still the quarterback.
Flacco's also been with the Bengals 10 days. He was with the Bengals 10 days before that game against the Steelers there. And he didn't have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins here in New York.
Correct.
So that makes a difference. Hey, Jet fans, the good news is Ryan Dunleavy says there is a win on the schedule somewhere. Check back with us next week. We'll see if it was against the Bengals. Maybe it'll be the Browns. Maybe Tyrod Taylor, starting QB, will give this team a spark, and Aaron Glenn will be dancing up and down the sidelines again. Either way, we'll have something to talk about. Thanks for tuning in. For Ryan Dunleavy, I'm Joe Mauceri. We'll talk to you next week, everybody.